Today, we take a look at the fascinating and lesser-known sides of South Korea that no one really talks about.
Hyun-duri is an average 20-year-old guy working in a company in South Korea. But every morning, he makes sure he has his cosmetics pouch with him when he leaves home.
From the unique love motels that cater to couples looking for privacy, to the intense school culture that demands long study hours from students, there are many aspects of life here that aren't widely known.
Plastic surgery is very common here in South Korea, but people don't want to look as though they have had the surgery.
Yes.
Number 15. South Korea's education system. School is taken very seriously in South Korea. Kids are pushed hard to succeed from a young age. For them, getting into a top university isn't just a goal, it is the most important thing. So, the competition is fierce, and it starts early. By the time children are just 3 years old, they are already in school, where they learn basic skills like reading, writing, and math. On top of this, many begin to learn additional languages, like English and Chinese at such a young age. Now, by the time they enter elementary school, their schedules are packed. It's not just school hours. Once the bell rings, they head to after-school academies, or hagwons, where they have to do extra classes. These classes cover everything from math and science to art and music. Even then, their day isn't over. At home, they still have assignments waiting for them. This becomes their daily routine. Even weekends aren't breaks from studying. Saturdays and Sundays often mean more classes or catching up on work. Public holidays? Not much different. It's no wonder that many kids feel exhausted and unhappy. The pressure is always there, weighing them down. Upon reaching high school, things get even tougher. The competition to get into a good university becomes intense. Many students find themselves staying up all night at study cafes. As you can imagine, all of this can be overwhelming for a student. This constant pressure has led to some heartbreaking outcomes. South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates for students between the ages of 10 and 19. In the end, the education system in Korea may push students towards success, but it often comes at a heavy price. Number 14. South Korea brushing habit. In South Korea, there is a big emphasis on keeping your teeth clean. People here follow a special routine called the 3-3-3 method. What's that? Well, it means brushing your teeth 3 times a day, each time for at least 3 minutes, and starting within 3 minutes after eating. They don't just do this at home either. It's common to brush after every meal, especially if they have eaten something sweet. But here is the interesting part. Korean food uses a lot of strong spices, like garlic and ginger. Due to this, people believe that brushing your teeth isn't just about hygiene. It's also about being polite. After all, no one wants to smell that garlic you just ate, right? It's become a habit that's expected in everyday life, and they take this habit with them wherever they go. People don't just leave their toothbrushes at home after using it. They carry them to work, meetings, or even a casual lunch with friends. Public places like universities, malls, and even subway stations often have lines of people waiting to brush their teeth after a meal. You can easily find someone at the sink in a public bathroom.
Yeah, we don't typically do this in our, public bathrooms.
Scrubbing away. In the workplace, it is totally normal to see someone brushing their teeth at their desk, and they may be doing this while typing or working on something. This might seem a little funny at first, but it's just how things are done there. This focus on brushing shows how much South Koreans value cleanliness and consider it a key part of good manners. It's something you notice right away when you spend time there, and it's a habit that definitely sticks. Number 13. South Korea's pollution problem and the use of face masks. The air in Korea is a real problem. Every morning, people check the levels before deciding if it's safe to head outside. It's almost like checking the weather, something you just have to do. Most people in Korea blame China for the bad air. They think the pollution drifts over the border, bringing all that fine dust with it. But truth be told, not all the blame lies there.
The air in South Korea has been thick with smog for the past couple of days. The government is enforcing emergency measures to tackle fine dust.
Korea's own factories and cars are part of the problem too. Now this is why face masks are everywhere. They are not just for when you feel sick or for stopping the spread of germs. Masks are used for a lot of different reasons here. When the pollution levels spike, people pull on their masks to avoid breathing in all that fine dust. The dust can make your throat hurt, make you cough, and make your eyes sting. So, the mask helps a lot. The face masks also come in handy when someone's feeling under the weather. If you've got a cold, it's normal to slip on a mask so you don't spread your germs to others. And then there's winter. The cold winds can be harsh, making your face feel frozen. A mask, though, keeps the worst of the chill away, but it doesn't end there. For some people, masks are more than just practical. They are stylish. It's almost like an accessory, a little addition to complete an outfit. Black masks, colorful ones, some with patterns, they have become part of everyday looks. Number 12. The realities of busy Korean streets. Imagine being in a crowd where everyone moves fast and no one says, "Excuse me." That's what it feels like in busy places in South Korea. People push through tight spaces and there's no "I'm sorry" or polite nods. They just go for it. You could say it's part of the culture. Everyone is always in a rush and no one really minds if someone else gets bumped. There is this feeling that if you don't do it too, you will just get left behind. So, sometimes you have to push back a little, even if it feels strange at first. Locals don't judge you for it, though you might get a sideways glance from a tourist or two who isn't used to it. It's just how things work. Moreover, bear in mind that you should not anticipate anyone holding the door open for you. When entering or exiting a building, it's essentially every person for themselves. Therefore, be prepared, because that door might just swing shut right in your face if you're not attentive. Now, no one is being rude on purpose. It's just not part of the daily routine to wait and hold the door for the next person. Being in these situations can feel strange, especially if you come from a place where politeness like that is common. But here, it's more about speed and getting where you need to be. People aren't trying to be unfriendly. It is just the way of life in a busy place. Number 11. Valentine's Day in South Korea. Valentine's Day in South Korea is a bit different from what you know. The reason is that on February 14th, only women give gifts. They usually give chocolates to the guys they like, and it's more than just a little gesture. Some spend a lot, but it's not just about being sweet. It's about setting up what comes next. A month later, on March 14th, there is a day called White Day. This is when the men return the favor. They have to follow something called the Rule of Three. This rule dictates that the gift they present should be 3 times the value of what they received in February. The gift can range from candy to flowers, stuffed animals, and even jewelry. However, the amount they spend speaks volumes about their feelings. If the man doesn't provide a gift at all, it essentially suggests he believes he is too good for the girl. And if he merely matches what she gave him, it typically indicates that the relationship isn't going anywhere. But if he goes all out, it shows he is serious about her. Then, there is something for those who don't get gifts on either day. It's called Black Day, and it's on April 14th. On this day, singles come together to ease their bruised hearts. They get together with friends and head over to a Chinese-Korean restaurant. There, they eat this dish called jjajangmyeon. This is basically a big bowl of noodles covered in black bean sauce. A simple meal, but it brings people together. Although they might feel a bit lonely, at least they can share a meal with others in the same boat. Number 10. South Korean men and makeup.
But in South Korea, they're becoming must-haves for men as well.
It might surprise some people, but men really care about their looks. This is especially true in South Korea, where how you appear to others matters a lot. Many men feel that the old-fashioned ideas of masculinity just don't work anymore. Instead, they focus on beauty and grooming. In South Korea, makeup is not just for women. Men use it too. They see makeup as a way to improve their appearance and boost their confidence. Many Korean men invest more in skincare products than men anywhere else in the world. That says a lot about how important this is to them. Young people often look up to their favorite pop stars and actors from Korean dramas. They want to achieve that perfect look they see on screen. For them, it's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good. Applying makeup takes practice and time, and those who have learned the skill often find it gives them an edge. For example, when going for job interviews, looking polished can make a big difference. Just as speaking English fluently or having a great internship can help someone get hired, good looks can also play a role. In South Korea, where most people share similar backgrounds, competition can be fierce. Because of this, having clear skin or a well-defined face shape might matter during the hiring process. However, while appearance can be important, it's not everything. Employers often look at qualifications and experience first. But in a society that values beauty, looking your best can certainly help. In the end, South Korean men are embracing the idea that taking care of their looks is just as important as any other skill. They are breaking down old stereotypes and showing that men can care about their appearance too. Number 9. South Korea drinking culture. South Korea has a really strong drinking culture.
The unique drinking culture in South Korea. If you find yourself in Korea,
And it's something you will immediately notice if you visit. Whether you are there for school or work, it's hard to miss. Koreans drink a lot. In fact, they drink more than anyone else in Asia, according to statistics. The interesting part is how often drinking becomes a part of daily life there. You meet someone new, or even an old friend, and it's pretty likely someone will suggest drinks. It feels like an important tradition. Soju, a traditional rice-based liquor, is especially popular. People often turn to drinking because it makes social situations easier. Even someone really shy will loosen up after a few glasses. It's a quick way to break the ice, and people use it to get comfortable around each other faster. It's also about bonding. Having drinks together is seen as a way to grow closer and build trust. Another reason drinking is so common in Korea is because alcohol is easy to get. Anyone with an identity card can buy it, and it's cheap too. There aren't many restrictions either. Walk into any convenience store or supermarket, and you'll find hard liquor on the shelves, day or night. Soju, tequila, you name it, it's all there. The availability of alcohol makes it so that drinking is not just an occasional activity, but a common, almost expected part of social life. Number 8. The plastic surgery capital. South Korea is often called the plastic surgery capital of the world.
Accounted for nearly 1 million of them. It reportedly has the highest rate of plastic surgery per capita.
A recent survey showed that about a quarter of women in their 20s and almost a third of women in their 30s have had some type of cosmetic procedure. Korean beauty standards are strict, and they focus on things like a small, youthful-looking face, symmetrical eyebrows, a slim figure, and double eyelids. That last one, double eyelids, is especially popular. The surgery to achieve this involves making a small cut above each eye to create a crease. Many women in Korea get this done, and it's often considered a normal part of enhancing one's looks. Nose jobs or rhinoplasties are another common procedure, along with glutathione injections, which lighten the skin. Fair skin is highly valued, and many women seek this treatment to achieve a lighter complexion. Appearance in South Korea holds a lot of weight, both in social and professional settings. Looking good can be the key to getting hired. so people are willing to undergo surgery to improve their chances of landing a job. It's not just about looking good for oneself. In many cases, it's about fitting into a society where beauty is closely tied to success. Celebrities and social media play a big role in shaping these beauty standards. K-pop idols and actors from K-dramas set the trends that many people feel pressured to follow. The high number of surgeons and clinics in the country also makes surgery more accessible and affordable. With so many doctors specializing in these procedures, South Korea has become a global hub for plastic surgery. Number 7. Animal cafes. Cafes in South Korea are more than just places to grab a drink. They are experiences, each offering something unique. Imagine walking into a cafe, themed like your favorite childhood characters, or even a spot dedicated to flowers. Some of the strangest ones are themed around animals, drawing both curious locals and tourists. Seoul is home to a variety of animal cafes, and the Meerkat Cafe stands out. It doesn't just contain meerkats. There are wallabies, cats, and even some exotic animals lounging around. You are allowed to get close to the animal and even pet them. For some, this is a magical experience, a chance to get up close to animals they would normally only see on television or in zoos. Another favorite is the Sheep Cafe.
Then we heard about this place, where we can see sheep in Seoul, and came to the Sheep Cafe.
Imagine holding your cup while soft woolly sheep graze nearby. Many visitors can't resist snapping a selfie with them. Yet, not everyone finds joy in this. A growing number of people have started to voice their concerns about the animals' well-being. They believe these animals should live in the wild, roaming freely. They don't think it's right for them to be kept in small cafe spaces in busy Seoul. After all, these cafes are businesses. Many see the animals as nothing more than a way to attract more customers, particularly tourists. It's a mix of wonder and worry. While these cafes offer rare experiences, they also raise important questions about how animals should be treated in our ever-expanding urban world. Number 6. Disposing of toilet papers. If there is one thing that stands out in South Korea, it is its spotless streets and modern cities. However, the public bathroom situation might surprise you. When stepping into many public toilets, you are greeted by signs that tell you not to flush the toilet paper. That's right. Instead, you are supposed to toss it into a trash can next to the toilet. And here's the odd part. The bins don't have lids. While most Koreans are used to this, it can catch tourists off guard. Some visitors find the smell overwhelming. The sight of crumpled tissue piled up can make the experience even more unpleasant. Imagine needing to use the restroom in a busy public area, only to be faced with that. Because of the growing complaints, the government decided to make changes. In 2018, they announced plans to remove those bins, aiming to improve cleanliness. But if you travel around the country, you might notice that not much has changed outside the tourist areas in Seoul. The new policy is more visible in places frequented by visitors, but in smaller cities or quieter neighborhoods, the old practice still remains. So, while South Korea's streets might shine, its restrooms might leave you holding your breath. For tourists, it's just one of those cultural quirks you have to adjust to. However, with continued feedback, it's clear that some improvements have been made, but there is still a long way to go to bring change across the entire country. Now it's time for today's subscribers pick. In this image, we see a young woman in a short skirt, posing in an outdoor setting. In South Korea, the shortest skirts, shorts, and dresses are considered perfectly normal and even fashionable. This is particularly true in larger cities like Seoul, where street fashion pushes boundaries and style is very much celebrated. Despite this, there's an interesting contrast when it comes to showing the upper body. In South Korea, especially in smaller towns, showing the collarbone is considered too revealing. They say exposing this area draws too much attention to your chest, which is why you'll often see people wearing high neck tops, even with short skirts. This contrast shows just how diverse South Korean fashion and social norms can be. It makes you think about how the same society can have different attitudes based on location and tradition. What are your thoughts on these differences in fashion norms? Do you think it's interesting how one culture can have both modern and traditional rules like this? Number 5. South Korea's Love Motel. It's easy to walk past a love motel without even noticing it. These places are often hidden in alleyways or squeezed between other buildings. In South Korea, they are more common than you might think, but they don't always stand out. If you are a foreigner walking through Seoul, you might miss the signs, which are not usually in English. However, once you know what to look for, it gets easier. The bold, flashy hotel letters.
What is it like going to a love hotel? Well, today's your lucky day, because I'll go to a love hotel for you guys.
Are often the first clue that you have stumbled upon one. Love motels exist for a specific reason. Many young adults in South Korea still live with their parents, which makes finding privacy challenging. These motels offer a space for couples who want to escape the watchful eyes at home. But they're not only for romantic getaways. Regular travelers, especially those on a budget, also book these motels. They provide an affordable place to stay. Plus, staying in one offers a unique peek into the local culture, which is something most hotels don't provide. Now, the real charm of these motels, though, lies in their creative themes. They're famous for it. Stepping into one feels like walking into a completely different world. Some rooms are playful and bright, while others are dark and dramatic. People often choose these motels just for the experience, with many drawn to their Instagram-worthy setups. They're more expensive than regular love motels, but many believe it's worth the price for a night in a themed room. Number 4. The mandatory military service. The clock starts ticking for young men in South Korea when they hit 19. For many, this age marks the beginning of an important tradition.
I'm Private First Class Kim Young-hoon of the White Horse Division, and I'm 20 years old.
It's not just any rite of passage, though. It's a requirement. Every young man must undergo a medical exam to determine whether he's fit to serve. The results can send them down one of 3 paths. For some, it's straight into the military. If they pass the health checks, they will be heading off for almost 2 years of service. Those who aren't physically ready, though, take a different route. Instead of joining the army, they might find themselves working in public institutions. And then, there are those whose conditions exempt them from serving altogether. But not every exemption has to do with someone's health. Sometimes, people get a pass for other reasons. Back in 1973, the government decided that athletes and artists who brought honor to the country might get special treatment. One famous case involved a star footballer, Son Heung-min. When his team won the gold medal at the 2018 Asian Games, he was given a shorter time in the military.
South Korean football star Son Heung-min has once again grabbed the international attention as the country's army.
While he still had to serve, the burden was lighter. Dodging this responsibility, however, is frowned upon. People can be quick to judge those who try to avoid it. Some might even face suspicion or scorn from their peers. Companies take this seriously too. When someone applies for a job, military service is often something employers look for. Not having it on your resume could be a deal breaker for many. This system shapes a lot of lives, and there is no easy way around it. Whether it's 2 years of military training or civil work, most young men in the country know that sooner or later they will be called to serve in one way or another. It's simply part of growing up. Number 3. Unlucky number 4. Every culture has its own superstitions, and South Korea is no exception. Some of these beliefs might seem strange to outsiders. However, they are an important part of everyday life. One of the biggest superstitions in South Korea is about the number 4. It is considered to be unlucky. This is because the word for 4 sounds a lot like the word for death in Korean. Because of this, you might notice that the button for the 4th floor in an elevator is replaced with the letter F, or skipped altogether. You will see this practice in places besides elevators, hospitals, funeral homes, and other places where people think about death often skip the number 4 in room numbers. They believe it's better not to tempt fate, especially in places where life and death are closely linked. If you're thinking of giving a gift to someone, make sure it's not a set of 4 items. A gift of 4 items is seen as bringing bad luck, which is definitely not the kind of gift anyone wants to receive. But the superstition doesn't stop there. The number 44 is considered even worse. Why? Because it's like doubling the bad luck. In Korean, 44 can sound like died and deceased, which no one wants to be reminded of. So, people tend to avoid the number whenever they can, whether it's in room numbers or anything else. These beliefs might seem strange if you are not used to them. However, they are an important part of Korean culture. Like other superstitions around the world, they are part of daily life. It's something people don't take lightly. Number 2, reenactment of crime scenes. Ever wondered why, in some South Korean dramas or films, the accused is dragged back to the scene of the crime?
Crime scene photographer photographs the whole crime scene and the physical evidence they have found
and made to show exactly how they did it. Cameras flash, crowds shout angrily, and the person stands there, humiliated. This isn't just a dramatic plot twist. It's something that actually happens. It's a practice called crime reenactment. Imagine being accused of a crime and then having to walk through the steps of how it was supposedly done. That's what happens. The authorities believe making someone relive the crime can help them gather more evidence. To them, it helps to fill in the missing pieces of the puzzle. And sometimes, this method works. There have been situations where important evidence was discovered. In some cases, more victims were found. This led to harsher punishments for the guilty. But what if the person isn't guilty? Here is where things get tricky. You see, the word accused is important because not everyone that has been said to commit an offense is necessarily guilty. Yet, the public often treats them as if they are. Crime reenactments are held in the open for everyone to see. It's like the person is already convicted in the eyes of the crowd, even before a trial happens. The whole idea of innocent until proven guilty gets thrown out the window. To make matters worse, South Korea's culture highly values reputation. Losing face or damaging one's public image can be devastating. If someone is seen on camera reenacting a crime, their reputation might be ruined forever. And it doesn't matter whether they committed the crime or not. So, being accused of a crime, then humiliated publicly, can feel like a punishment before the trial even begins. Number 1, love and blood types. On a first date, the conversation might take an unexpected turn. Instead of the usual talk about favorite movies or food, the topic could shift to blood types. In South Korea, this is a pretty common thing. Blood types are more than just a medical fact. They are believed to reveal a lot about someone's personality and even help predict whether two people are a good match. Everyone in South Korea knows their blood type, and it's considered a key part of who they are. Some people think that blood types influence everything from your habits to how you react in certain situations. For instance, Type B women are often advised to stay away from Type A men. Type O men, on the other hand, are seen as more compatible, and Type AB men fall somewhere in the middle. It's almost like a dating guide, all based on blood type. While not everyone takes this seriously, you'll definitely hear about it in conversations. It might come up when meeting new friends, or even while watching TV, as blood type theories often appear in South Korean pop culture. People enjoy talking about it, and it's seen as a fun way to understand each other. Even if there is no scientific proof behind it, blood type discussions have become a cultural habit, especially when it comes to relationships. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.